Right, hello y'all. I am back with a discussion for y'all. Okay. Hello, hello, hello. This is High Priestess Jamil. I'm trying to get this frequency to go in the background, but this one is so overwhelming. It's so loud. I don't want to have to talk over it. Okay, that's perfect. So, what Spirit wanted me to come and talk about today is those of you that are dealing with narcissistic parents. And I can always recognize when people are dealing with narc parents, honestly. And and coincidentally, I actually recorded a reading for a client today. I just got to get it processed and sent to the client where her mother, okay, and I wanted to come and talk about this early with dealing with narcissistic family, especially if it is your mother. And people don't really, people don't really know like how common this is. Um, here's my theory on it. I feel that the reason why our parents are so messed up and the reason why they're so different than us, very different, is because our generation was meant to bring in the age of Aquarius. The age of Aquarius is all about independence and freedom and free thinking and leveling up your thought processes and stuff like that. The reason why our parents, especially from certain generations, are like that, they are in like what I call a spiritual depression. Okay. It's like a spiritual depression. Everything that you manifest every single day comes from spirit, whether or not you have good spirits or bad spirits is the question. And when it comes to your narcissistic mother, she's lost her mind. She thinks that you are going to be the fairest of all, or, she has regrets in life. And trauma, that's unresolved trauma. And so if you are somebody that was taught a certain value system where you accept oppression, okay, that's the issue with narcissistic mothers, is that they oppress. Okay, some of these people that you see 40 and 50 years old still living with their mama, it is because that's what their mama wanted. It's almost like y'all know that cartoon Tangled, that evil witch stole that little girl, stole that, stole her and then kept her captive in a treehouse and would never let her leave. Told her that the outside world was too dangerous for her to go into it. And was basically siphoning her energy. Um, I don't even think that some of our parents had enough sense to even do that. That's not what they're doing. Some of them are the more sophisticated ones, but a lot of them are just spiritually ill. Okay. Because I don't call mental illness spirit, I don't call it mental illness anymore. These people are spiritually ill. And I know this for a fact because being that I'm somebody that has worked so many cases, especially with hex removals and generational hex removals, what ends up happening is that spirit that is attached to the family, to the bloodline, what I noticed sometimes when I would do work for people was that I could just feel that spirit. And so, I realized that, oh, I've got to banish these spirits. You know what I'm saying? When you're removing a hex, because it's like they hang on you, they just hang down, and it's like over your head. And you can tell because you'll start having like shoulder pain, neck pain, and you'll just, everything will be just really tight and just pressed and just, you know, everybody's definitely going to feel better once they get them stimulus checks. But I'm going to tell you something. That's just now. We don't know what is going to happen in the future, as far as with getting a fourth or a fifth payment. So a lot of people really need to pay attention to their money blockers, because there's a lot of people that are not doing bad right now. You know what I'm saying? They're not doing dirtball bad to where, even if they didn't get their stimulus check, they would be cool, is what I'm saying. Because some people save their money up. If you have been oppressed for years and years and you start making some money, you're going to spend the money, which is good. Spend it. You don't necessarily have to save it, because you're going to have expenses. You're going to have to spend money to live. So, but I think people need to really take a look at who their enemies are, because I can tell you that with some of y'all, it ain't got to be that hard. It ain't got to be that to the point where you're driven to desperation. Like, what is the issue with that? Now, I was doing some dark goddess readings earlier. I got my dark goddess cards right here if y'all want me to throw the cards for you. One of the cards in here, that desperation thing, it doesn't manifest money. It doesn't. It doesn't, because your mind has to be at a certain level for that to come in. If you've got low spirits, this is going to stop or slow down everything. And you don't have to, doesn't have to necessarily be that way for you. For example, every year when you're waiting for your income tax, don't mean that you have to be flat broke and desperate and begging and borrowing and stealing from people. You don't have to live like that. You know what I'm saying? Because the I'm telling y'all, I know for a fact the universe is very abundant. If at any moment they make you feel so uninspired where you feel like you can't do something, then that, because they'll beat you down. Oh, you ain't nothing. Oh, you're crap. Just anything to bring down your vibrations. Okay. Or they'll do spiritual work. Okay. Now, if they put something out there on you, which, the thing about me is that I can always see energy coming in. And, so there's certain dates that I have to be careful. There's certain days of the week where I have to be very defensive. I have to do very defensive magic. And the best thing I think the best color for that is purple. So I made some purple candles today. So, you've got to learn that stuff. Otherwise, you'll be stuck, being you know, you'll just be stuck. You just won't be experiencing life. And some of y'all have parents that don't want you to exceed them. They don't want you to supersede them, meaning that they don't want you to outdo them. They don't want you to do better than them, which is stupid. You know why it's stupid? What they don't understand about it? That's just like if you had a 200-year-old grandpa that thought that bread should still cost a penny. Well, things have inflated, and that's not going to change. Being broke is not going to make prices go down on everything. No, that's not the way it's supposed to be. If your parents had to make 50,000 per year to survive, then you probably got to make 3 times that amount. Why? Because everything is inflated. So when you have inflation, you have to have expansion. You have to have expansion of ideas. These parents are stuck in a time warp. Literally, everything that they do will be within that time stamp. So, for example, they probably work in the same job, making the same amount. If you're some of these parents, if they're in that position, when you get out there and you're making 3, 4 times that amount, some of them are like, no, you need to be making this amount. It works for me. Well, especially y'all with kids. Like my mother had 1 kid. That's it. That was me. I have 4. So that means that I'm going to have 4 times the amount. And you can't just say, oh, well, you can't do better than me. I'm going to light a candle on you. And I'm going to bet you that I'll do better than you. You got to and stop playing around with them. Stop paying attention to the distractions. Okay? Because there's people out there that will distract you from who is really, really the enemy. Sometimes your enemy is your mother. She wants to take care of you all of a sudden, and you're 40 or 50. Excuse me. Now I'm grown. Not going to go back and be a child. Thank you, Water Goddess. Thank you. My ex-boyfriend said that I was ugly, though. He said I was ugly. And my feelings was hurt. No, I'm kidding, y'all. You know what? This candle is almost solid. It still feels like jelly, so it's not ready yet. Um, yeah, you got to go to work on that and wasting time on other people. People that don't have an invested interest to keep you in a certain place. You know, and it affects the children underneath you. So if you're being affected by somebody that's trying to mess up your potential, then it's going to affect your children. It is. It's going to affect their grandchildren. And I actually called, I'm going to be honest with you. I've called people cursing both the grandchildren. Okay. Some of these people, they'll curse their own grandchildren. They'll curse their kids, and they will curse their mate. They'll curse everybody just out of extreme bitterness and hatred. And y'all know it's the truth. And you be and people be, and you know what they be like, oh, it's them young folks. They be sending y'all all kind of negative energy. And that's why everybody beat up. Folks got black eyes and stuff. People been fighting all weekend and shit. And then, when you look at it, what if your parent is facilitating war in your life? That like would you go along with that? I remember my previous life. This life was short. I did not live as long as this one. Okay. I was killed by my husband for cheating on him in this life. Okay. But growing up, I grew up in a very, very witchy family where my mother had a bunch of kids. I mean, a bunch of us in this life that I remember. And we were constantly being forced to do black magic on people. Just like, it was like, well, can we do nice magic? And it was like, no, you must curse all of them. They all suck. Why, mama? Why we gotta curse everybody? Like, why is it gotta be so much negativity all the time? And there is no reason why. It's just evil. That's why you can't always just listen to your parents. You have to, they can give you advice. They can give you advice, but I mean, sometimes in fact, I sometimes do the complete opposite. They told me to go down the right path, and I decided to go down the left one. You know, because they'll hold you back. You may have. I've seen it happen. I have seen parents purposely mess up their kids or try to mess them up out of jealousy. And I don't know why more people don't know about this. Like, they couldn't directly tell us in Hollywood, but they would make movies like Snow White. Okay. And I think that in Cinderella, those were supposed to be the cues as to what we were going to deal with. The only thing is that they always made it a stepmother, not your actual mother. Your mama can go crazy, become a nutcase, be bitter and jealous of everybody and running around, just waging war against everybody. It's crazy, and I've seen them. I've done too many. I've had people contact me like okay, so I don't never turn nobody against their mama, not ever. People contact me and they say, I have a suspicion. I have a suspicion something's up. And it's like, well, what happened? And I'll look in the cards and they'll be like, well, my mama slept with my man. Or my mama went and talked about me behind my back and told a bunch of lies. Do you think that she's against me? Are you really for real? Like, that's when you got some for real game as a parent. When you can do all that to your kid and your kid still think you love them, like you got that kid. That's crazy. And the first thing I'll say is well, I'm gonna throw the cards. I mean, but that would be kind of like an obvious that your mom might be against you. I noticed that my mother, every time something good would happen for me, she would get real sick and sad and upset and you know and stop speaking to me. Do you think that she's against me? Do you even have to ask? What do you think she's doing? And you look in the cards and you see all these cards that. So the cards, what they do is they just verify your own consciousness. They just give you the answer that you already know. To be honest with you, they're really confirmation. But some people be completely sleep on the situation. They just be sleep and they pull things. They just don't know. Yeah, that rapper Eminem said that his mom had Munchausen syndrome. And Munchausen is when um, they do things to seek attention. Okay, to seek attention, a certain kind of attention, sympathy. They want sympathy, a lot of it. But Munchausen by proxy is when they, and I think they changed it. It's not Munchausen anymore. You know, well, that's good, water goddess. If you still friends with your mama, that's good. I know that I'ma always be good to my kids. I love them so much. It was a period of time when um it was a period of time when I felt like they had saved my life, just because it gave me a sense of responsibility. Because I remember in my early 20s, I never forget the last time I went out. The last time I went out to a club, I had like 15 shots of tequila. And it was definitely a near death experience because I not only did I have the tequila shots, but I had smoked some bud, and I had also had some Tanqueray. I had a mixed drink too. And I was obviously pissy drunk. Somehow, well, the club was only like down the street from where I live. So it's not like I had to go and jump on the highway. I probably would have died that night. I made it home, but after I made it home, oh my God, I almost died. I was on my ass for like 3 days. I was throwing up blood. Something had lifted me up. I know it wasn't my mother. It was something invisible. I couldn't see it. I had passed out in the bed, and I wasn't laying on my side, but I woke up choking on my own vomit. And I don't know what the hell lifted me up over that toilet. It was me. I got up and stumbled to the toilet. But, and so it was definitely a near death experience, and like I was really 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 sick. I had very bad alcohol poisoning. And that was in my early 20s, and then, I got pregnant. Well, needless to say, I never drank like that again, ever. Ever. I would, yeah, nah. I know my limit, for real, for reals. But I had gotten pregnant with Ty like about a year or so later. And I would always think about that experience where I almost died, and I was thanking God, because sometimes I feel that that's your kids keep you going, they keep you alive, which nobody should ever say that at the age of 40. But since you've got crazy people that, because I think I've had probably about 10 people do death magic on me this week. So, you know, yeah, it is a trip. I kept trying to figure out, why did I drink so much that night? Like, and I remember how I felt for like 3 days. I couldn't even get off the couch. I was stuck for 3 days. And all I could do was lay there. That's all I could do was lay there. It was like, somehow I willed myself to stay alive through that. Somehow I did it, and I ended up recovering from it, because I thought, you would think that I would have died from that experience, because I was actually throwing up blood. So, yeah. And so I think that what it is that there's some people, they just don't value other people, and I think that when it comes to our parents, you know, the value that they place on some of us is that life insurance policy that they got going for you. Okay. And some parents will think, well, I'm taking care of you, and all they've been doing is paying into a life insurance policy your whole life. Okay. And they're guaranteed to get it. Because trust me, a few years ago, I tried to call to cancel any policies that were on me. They don't even keep track of it. And I think that that's another issue that we as tax-paying Americans, I think that we should fight for them to. I think that if you have life insurance on somebody, it has to be registered because you'd be surprised at these people that come up killed or dead and the mama got a goddamn life insurance policy on them. I don't have life insurance policies on my children. Never will I get life insurance policies on my children. Never. I'm a little, I know that a lot of y'all have it because y'all got these jobs and they offer it to you, but I just can't bring myself to do it because I feel like it could possibly, what if you do that? And what if there's like some secret agency that can see that? And they going to get paid too because the insurance company is going to get paid too when your family member dies. In fact, they took all of the you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I love my kids. I would never ever ever get a life in and not saying that parents that do that won't, because I know a lot of y'all will plan ahead, but that kind of makes me nervous. Like what if you know what I'm saying? Like it just, what if you cursing your kids or something? I can't do it. Okay. Just, yeah, we just gonna make sure that that never happens. Okay. For real. Yeah, but some of y'all in y'all 30s, 40s, and 50s, they done let it mature and they just waiting for the ball to drop, so that they can get paid off of you. And I think that a person, if I hated my child, I wouldn't collect on no life insurance on them because that money is gonna be cursed. Big facts. There was a guy that just killed his son for his life insurance. People do that, y'all. Man, insurance is these insurance companies. It's definitely a necessary evil. It's evil. And some people ain't got no filter. Some people don't have, ethics. Some people, they'll do just about anything. Especially if the relationship is not that good, and they'll feel like, well, I should have aborted you anyway. And it's like, what? Yeah. So you got to protect yourself spiritually. I've been feeling pretty good over here. That I'm telling y'all that get that invincibility. Okay. And you also got to protect all of your stuff, your interests, your kids, your house. You have to protect all of that stuff. Otherwise, you can face some hard times and struggles. And I know damn well when I get 60 years old, my kids are not gonna be struggling. I'm shit. We gonna own an art museum. We ain't about to be struggling. There's some of these parents in their 60s and 70s sitting up here wishing death on their kids so they can get some life insurance. You failed at life, and they're like, I sure did. So let me be a failure. Lolly lies. Like, I will throw my spiritual wand at you. So your narcissistic mother is actually very weak. Probably if you throw water on her, she'll probably melt for real. Okay. Some of them need some holy water. And people that had mothers like me that spoiled the shit out of them. Cause and the way you spoil your kids is with love. When you genuinely love them, like you can do anything with love. Love is such a powerful force. And just to think somebody crazy enough to not like their kids, like think about that kind of person. See, people that had mothers like me, they don't understand it. They're like, I don't understand. You're lucky you don't understand, honey. It's that, you lucky you don't understand. Thank the gods that you and your mama love you. Yes, she does. Thank you. Goddess, some of y'all mamas don't like you because of your daddies, which is stupid as hell. That is so stupid to take it out on your kids how you feel about their father. And I'm talking about to shun them and not love them, or either you got those parents, you ruined my life. Well, you're the parent. And I think sometimes people just can't think. I'm gonna tell y'all straight the hell up. I don't know what it was over there in Kansas City, Missouri. I could never think over there. I could never think straight in Kansas City, Missouri. I could think straight in Kansas, and I could think straight over here in Georgia. I could never think straight in my hometown. I had to get the hell away from there. I was like, shit, I gotta devise a plan. Thank you, Dark Priest. Thank you. Hit that thumbs up, y'all. So, people that have a good parent tend to have a much easier life. If you have a parent that's flailing around, oh my God, acting crazy, talking about you behind your back, scheming, scamming, plotting, you're gonna have to deal with some obstacles. It's like an obstacle course. It's like they'll try to create this obstacle course for you. It's ridiculous. You start to get older, you start to realize, you know what I'm saying, when you're trying to relax and you just live in life and life is flowing, and then all of a sudden, bam, and then you also got to figure out where the fuck the bam comes from, and you got to break the goddamn cycle. And see that right there, that takes many, many, many steps and hours of meditation. And the next time somebody tell me that I charge too much, I want them to go through what they need to go through. Because I'm going to tell you something. It is not easy breaking a hex. People think that it's easy, but it is not. It is not an easy thing. It's not. And sometimes you have to take like more than one element of magic. Like if you're going to do some candle work, then you probably need to also do some work with like some, you know, something from the earth, like lemons, limes, okay? Um, and it takes meditation, very meditation. You have to be able to do certain things because when you're able to clear your mind, that's when you're traveling. That's when something is happening. That's when you're moving. Okay. If it and so it's not so for me, that that's I saw some folks complaining about my prices. I'm like, well, that's pretty much what it takes. I've been doing this for years. That's how much energy it takes. Okay, you got to think about people dying, people with obesity, people with losses of jobs, people with bad luck, people with, all of that stuff. And you got to think about like what those energies can do to a person. Now, with me, learning how to make candles, learning how to do the reversals and stuff, but some people do nothing. They just move back in with their parents, which doesn't necessarily mean failure. It just means that that's where your spirits are at right there. For me personally, I can't live with my mother. I can't live with other people like that. I have to have my own stuff. I like to have my sunroom. I like to have all my stuff. I like to have my space. I don't give a damn. Even if it's messy, it's still my space. And that's just it. I can't do that. And a lot of y'all parents, the reason why they're trying to destroy you, call up to your job, harass you, stalk you, that is because they want you to have to be able to, they want you to grovel. They want you to come begging back to them, which is stupid. That's, I'm not your boyfriend. That's, I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all people have probably said that, like, I don't have to beg. You should pretty much expect for you to be doing good and for your kids to be doing good. If anything else is to be expected, then obviously there's something demonic going on. Obviously. Okay. And that is the reason why those Gen Hex removers are so expensive, because I have to bind your mama. And yes, I will bind her crazy ass too. I will bind her. I actually have, if y'all go to the Etsy shop, you'll see I have binded plenty of people's mamas. Yes, I have. Okay. But you know what I do? I just bind that person's ancestors, period. You know what I'm saying? Because that's who you're dealing with. You're dealing with people's spirits and the things that their spirits might be doing for them. Okay. So, but if you're a mother, you're supposed to send protection energy to your kids. You're supposed to send healing energy. You're supposed to send, but a lot of y'all parents that just want you to be a house person, they just want you to be in their house and serve as their butler or their belvedere. You can't go too far, because you got to stay behind and, drive Miss Daisy. You can't just live your life. And some people stay wrapped up in that for the rest of their life, which is fine, if that's what you want. But I think that if you have any sort of life plans or life purpose, then, you're going to fight for your independence and your sovereignty from that, and say, hey, listen, if I stay here right now, that's why when my kids leave home, I'm gonna make sure I'm healthy. I ain't gonna be in no poor health. Never. My health is good. I'm telling you, I wouldn't do it. And if I were to fall ill, I would hire me a nurse or something. I wouldn't expect, that's just like if my kid got an opportunity to, you know, go and do something that, is going to lead them to some kind of greatness. I'm not going to say, up, nope, you can't do that because you got to stay here and take care of me. That, and then some of them ain't even really sick. They're just spiritually sick. You know what I'm saying? It's unfortunate. I mean, some of y'all mama's been dying of cancer for like 15 years. Okay, come on now. And oh, my cancer came back. What? Right as you get any kind of opportunity or you making some kind of plans, their cancer comes back. Okay. Then as soon as you cancel your plans, oh, good news, my cancer went into remission. Wow, it did. So it just cured itself. Yeah, yeah, I'm perfectly fine now. And I know we've seen people die of cancer. So I am not being, please don't think I'm talking about these people that all of a sudden, as soon as you are about to have the time of your life, you may be going on some kind of world tour or something. All of a sudden they have cancer. And, it just, it's crazy. And you're supposed to just stop, you know. I mean, I know that I would never be diagnosed with cancer because I don't go to doctors like that. Bye. I don't need it. Look, if I were dying, I would know. So I don't need to go to no doctor to find out that I'm healthy. Okay. Because you know how you feel. We know that there's people that will try to send you bad energy, but that's why you need that invincibility cloak. Okay. I don't think that people in their 40s, and some of these people be in their 40s and they be like, oh, I'm too sick. You can't leave. You can't, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, what in the hell would you let that child out of that house? My goodness gracious. I have a few more years, raising Jacob. I think it's gonna fly by. I think it's gonna fly by. Jacob gonna fly up out of here like, bye, mom. Be like, bye. Have a nice life. I wish you well, son. You ain't supposed to just live with your mama your whole life. You ain't supposed to do that. I mean, if you want to, you can. If that's what you want, I mean, you know what? It ain't even about what you're supposed to be doing. But if that's what you're doing, just don't be fucked up about it. That's your life. That's what you chose. That's what you chose. Some of us like having our own personal space. Matter of fact, I purposely leave cups on the living room table because it's my house and I do what the hell I want to do in it. Hell, I leave my offerings out for longer than a day. Okay, so you know, and the crazy part about it is that the parents that are actually purposely holding their kids back, they'll go out in the world and say it's because my child is a loser. Be friends with me. It's like, good lord, I'm gonna leave the country for a little while. Yeah, yeah. I decided I'm going to Copenhagen. That's where I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go on a trip to Copenhagen, and I'm gonna drink plenty of wine and freaking relax. Goodness gracious. Then they all told you buy a house. What if I want to leave the country? But seriously, what if I don't want to do that? What if I want to travel around and live in 5 different states before I decide I'm going to buy a house? What if that? What about that? So some of your parents run around here. She ain't bought no house. She ain't doing shit. It's like, okay, well then you know what? I got this candle over here. I'm a light because I'm not feeling the love at all coming from you. It just is terrible. Just no matter what you do, it's never good enough. While they try to make things harder on you, that's called a narc. Standing over you, yelling at you, screaming at you, telling you that you're a piece of crap and that you're not good enough, and or whatever foul things that they want to say to you. And some of them are much more covert than that. Just to let y'all know, and it's like that's going to produce a negative result doing it that way. They didn't really know how to delegate. That's a person that don't know how to delegate responsibilities to people. Okay, that they completely lost the art of delegating anything. Which is giving everybody their position or their job or giving people direction. Because if you sit up there and verbally abuse a child, that's not going to do any good. And like, so I think that all of us at some point have made mistakes being parents. But I think that a parent that is being extremely verbally abusive to you, or even a person that's being extremely verbally abusive, communicating with somebody or delegating something to somebody. That's the main mistake that those types of parents made was the constant verbal abuse and verbal lashings. And That's something that I have never done to my children. And when they got older, they would have told me, you know, because you're their mother or your father, you're not their demonic overlord. Like, what the hell is wrong with you? Especially after they get older. They get older, they taking care of themselves, they don't bother you. What do you want? What is the problem? So, but that's what they're doing. And I can tell you that they're doing spiritual work on y'all too. They definitely doing spiritual work on y'all. Any of y'all up, see, up, there it is. And I bet you the tape is up. You know what that's crazy that just happened. That just happened. Exposed. That's crazy. Yeah, and it's kind of difficult. Like, I think that if you're raised in that environment, you're not going to really, like, poor communication skills is just what they are. It is. And I think that people should start communicating with each other instead of attacking or lashing out at each other. It's all about how you handle your conflict. I think that those types of parents, in fact, they didn't teach you conflict resolution. In fact, they didn't even want you to resolve your conflicts because, and you know what? This takes me back to when I was living in Grandview, Missouri. And there was these bad ass kids that kept chasing my kids home from the bus stop, harassing them, trying to jump on them, trying to fight them. I go down the street to where they live to talk to their parents. And there's this older guy down there. This man had to be at least 50. He was encouraging the kids to fight. And I said, well, why are you fighting my kids? I said, you need to leave my children alone. So, I had to confront. I had to confront, and it probably should have been their father doing it, but I had banished him away because he probably did it correctly. Um, I had to go down there and talk to him, and I had to let him know, in a non-ghetto way, hey, you shouldn't be encouraging these kids to do this. You could see him down there doing it clearly. And everybody in the neighborhood was like, he encourages all the kids to fight with each other. And I was just like, leave my children out of it. Well, needless to say, they didn't listen. And it's stupid. It's so stupid. And he wasn't even their father. He just was making all the kids act bad in the damn neighborhood. It was like, why are you doing that? And see, Daniela, my youngest daughter, that girl, if somebody. So, you're some adults are not, just because it's an adult doesn't mean that it's going to be a role model or will be able to set a good example for kids. You know, that's just like some of y'all mamas that y'all got them generational hexes on you. The men ain't none of these men shit hex, and everybody in the damn family single. Everybody dies single. Everybody has problems in their relationships, and they'll be sitting up there delegating the problem. They don't delegate responsibility, they delegate problems instead of responsibility. I think the job as a mother is to teach your child how to love by loving them. That's how you teach your children how to love. If you were somebody that was raised by an unloving mother, you are not going to necessarily know how to love or how to recognize it when somebody cares about you, when somebody is loving you. And especially with all of that trauma that comes along with it, let alone if you have a mother that's abusing you or beating you up. You know what I'm saying? And verbal abuse is just as bad, if not worse. That's one of the reasons why I honestly, when I have a conflict, can y'all not hear? Can y'all hear me? Hold on, y'all. Y'all look at that candle. Oh yeah, look at how strong that candle is. See, this is why I like making my own candles. I'm sure y'all can hear me now, right? So, verbal abuse is just as bad as physical abuse, if not worse. If not worse. I don't know which one is worse. I think that they both pretty much, I'm gonna be honest with you, neither one of them are worse. They're both bad. They're both bad, and people shouldn't do either one of them. And you certainly shouldn't do it to your children for any reason. For any reason. So, the best thing for you to do for something like that would be to cleanse and clear yourself. Cleanse and clear yourself. Uncross yourself, which is unbinding yourself because they've got you binded. I want to bind her from having anything that she wants, because it's like a Cinderella complex. And bind them from doing harm to you. You don't ever want to bind anybody from being able to help themselves. You know what I'm saying? You don't never want to do that. And not even, especially if it's because you know that they're going to get back up and they're going to do the same damn thing over and over again. So a lot of people are like, well, I just need to destroy this person. And it's like, well, that's not for you to determine. That's not for you to necessarily determine. You're destroying the demon or the entity or the negative spirit. So what it really is to make sure that that energy does not touch you in any way. That's what the goal is. They can wish all this stuff on you all they want, but is it really going to manifest in your life the way they wanted it to? Okay. And some of y'all, your parent is wishing death on you. They have totally lost their mind. And you can't give kids back. My mother was an abortionist. Okay. She was an abortionist, which, abortion is child sacrifice. That's what it is. Okay. And so a person that might do that, they might try to hurt their grown child too, possibly. Not saying that all of them, but if, my mother was an abortionist and then she also bragged about it. Like it was not anything that so a lot of the stuff early on in childhood was strange to me and it was weird, but it wasn't that bad, but it was still abuse. I don't agree with that. And for me, what it did was, it definitely resulted in, because I would never do that. Not me. It wouldn't be for me. But I for damn sure wouldn't be running around bragging about it. Like, like I killed that little bastard. And it's like, well, come on now. Come on now. The child probably did ask to be born, but do you blame them? Oh my goodness. Yeah, I heard about that. I wish somebody would put a stop to that. That's gonna be real demon night. Those little babies, if they do that, y'all better put some menstrual blood above y'all door. Where they talking about doing that at in New York? Mm, I had heard some about over there. See, over here in Georgia, you can't get an abortion if they can detect a heartbeat. For your spiritual protection, that's what they need to put on the pamphlet. For your spiritual protection, if we detect a heartbeat, we are not going to abort your baby. And what's happening is that these little babies, these little angel babies, they're little cherubs, but they're very powerful, and they came back with a vengeance. Just because you kill something doesn't mean it's God. You know? So I wouldn't go down there and let them do that to me, but everybody has their own story, and it is what it is. But I'm just telling you that, let's get back to what we were talking about, which is the narcissistic parents. Let's get back to that. Okay. Um, some of them are cursing their own grandchildren because they told you, if you have that baby, you're going to have a hard time in life, and you're never going to succeed, and you're going to ruin your life. So kill your baby, kill it, just murder it, kill it. That's what they tell you. That these are supposed to be mothers. That's what they tell you, right? You have the baby anyway, and they'll even when you're moving on and you're doing better in life and you're doing better than ever, then they're like, no, I have to be right. They want to be right. They just want to curse you because your parents are cursing you. If you go to your mother and you tell her that you're pregnant, right? And she tells you you need to abort that baby because your life is going to be ruined, and she attacks you through the whole pregnancy. Why would you think moving forward that you can trust that person? That's really what I want to know. Why would you, especially when you want to keep your child, like, that within itself is an area or a place, and you can even see it big time. I couldn't keep watching, some of those, but you can kind of tell, you know what I'm saying? Watching these TV shows and stuff. So basically, when my grandbaby was born, I actually did a coronation on her, and I held her up. I said, this baby is going to be successful, happy, blessed. So is her mama. You don't curse the child. They curse the children. They curse them just because they want to be proven right. I told you that nigga wasn't shit. So if the father ain't about shit, they don't want. They're like, your kids ain't shit, and it's automatic. Even if you may have a good kid, your kid ain't like that. But if the father, and so that is another thing that the elders messed up with. You can't stigmatize a child because of his father or its mother. But they taught us that was what we were supposed to do. But it wasn't the right thing to do. Guys, I'm not joking with you. I have been present when people have went to their mamas for advice, and they'll give them some sick, twisted advice. And it's like, well, are you really going to listen to that? You know, some of these people go to they go to their mama or their grandma with their problems, and grandma will tell them, go in there and get my pistol and just go and shoot him. Just go kill him. He disrespected you. Just and then and I'm serious. Like you'd be surprised at the stuff that might get discussed at the dinner table with some of these people, with some of these families. That it is sad when you just give your kid all bad advice that's going to make them go out there and ruin their life. So they're basically telling you, go on out there and ruin your life, child. Go ahead. Let the force be with you and shit, and then some of these men, that's how you think these men become killers and shooters, because they done had some man of an older generation encouraging them to go out and kill somebody. You should kill that person. I wouldn't let that person called you a what? A poopy face. Go kill them. What? That is not the right advice to give somebody. But they'll do it anyway. Like it's I can't handle it. Normal people will say, you know what, son or daughter, don't get yourself involved with those people. Block them out, just, ask, God to protect you, and put some kind of hex on them. You know what I'm saying? Get them hex, so they can't bother you. Put a binding on them. No, you tell your kid to go out and shoot some damn body. Now, that to me, and I can honestly look, see, past life regression, and I haven't been having a lot of regressions like that. But considering who I was honest about who I was, the person that I was, but that was a different time. Times was harder back then. Times was much harder back then. Okay. Y'all think it's bad now. Oh my goodness. Shoot, there was a time when people couldn't even find a loaf of bread in the grocery store. That's when people had to learn how to bake bread and hunt, which it ain't nothing wrong with that, but and it was no money in sight. There was no stimulus packages, trust me. So you had to pretty much do what you had to do in the wild, wild west. Okay. But the times have changed, the consciousness and the energies have changed, and some of your parents are still stuck in a time capsule. They're in a time warp, they're in a time loop, and you end up with non-progression, or either your progression is slow. They've even trained us to get used to it. Delayed, but not denied. Delayed, you know, we need to say never delayed, never denied. That's what we need to be saying, not that. And they just like, oh, let's move like a slug. Come on, are you a slug? No, I'm not a slug. I'm a fucking rabbit. No, we're slugs, we're turtles. It's crazy. And I remember getting attacked because I went to college. My mother threw me out of the house because I started school. So I still don't understand what that was about. But what we can do is we can say, thank God we made it. Okay. you know, and that's what a narc parent will do. When you're trying to do something, all of a sudden, either they want to throw you out of the house, anything to better yourself. That's how you can tell a narc parent is a narcissist, is when they're trying to stop you from bettering yourself and stop you from progressing. Now, if you're out there doing bad things to people, you know what I'm saying? And I even want to say this about that. Some people deserve the bad shit that they could put on them. Some of them, not all of them. Like for me, I guess you could say that I'm a bad person because what I do is I remove curses from people and I send it back to who sent it. That's what I do. So, to who, either for me personally, okay, for me, People are either going to see me as an angel or a devil, one or the other. Depends on what side of the fence that you on. If you're somebody that's trying to steal and kill and do all kind of stuff to people, I'm going to say you are not going to do that to them people. Especially if they come and pay me to do it. Oh Lord, we got trolls up in here. Oh Lord, have mercy. Y'all are funny. Oh my goodness, my back. I've got to do some stretching, y'all. Y'all better get them binding spells. Them picture bindings are really good. They are really good. But I've had to do emergency bindings to where the person will send me a picture of the person that is attacking them. And I don't even have to print the picture out. I can just do my work that I need to do with their picture. They send me a picture of the person. So if you have a picture of a person, you can send them a lot of bad energy. That's exactly what happened when I graduated high school. I was trying to enroll in higher education. My parents teamed together and sold me out to some old guy. Whoa. Wow. Man, I was looking at this. Oh my God. There is this show on Netflix, and this guy, this gay man, his parents put him in some kind of Christian camp for them to take the gay away from him. Well, first of all, they raped him, so they kind of sealed the deal on him being gay. I don't know how raping a man, I don't know how a man raping a man is going to make him not gay, but okay. Um, but they tortured this man. Oh my God, they tortured him. Oh my God, it brought me to tears. That never ever is that acceptable. I don't think it is. You know what I'm saying, to put somebody through that kind of human suffering. But if you're a woman and a man took your husband, then shit, you may have a totally different story. But listen, if something was meant for you, it was meant for you. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people kind of look at that as kind of like, you know, I know why people, like, how you see people that have an issue with gay people. I know why they do. I don't talk about it, but I know why they do. Okay. And I think that as long as they're not worried about what's going on in my bedroom, I'm not worried about what they're doing in theirs. That's pretty much how I feel about that. And some people will become obsessed with a subject or something like that. They'll become obsessed with it, and it'll start. It's just constantly on their mind. And obsession is I believe is what leads people to narcissism, especially if it's extreme narcissism. And I don't think anybody is going to quite be there yet to just say love and light to somebody that's being disrespectful and cruel to you. You know, that everybody doesn't. Sometimes it ain't a time or a place for that love and light. Just to let y'all know, sometimes it's not a time nor a place for the love and the light. Okay, because war can be really ugly, but sometimes you got to do it. But you ain't got to continue to do it. You do it, and see, some people will stay at war for months and months and weeks. No, when I light that candle and I send it away into wherever it's got to go, I'm done with it. I ain't got nothing. I don't even think about it. That's what when I look. See, that's the thing. That's why I don't trust spiritualists that don't really give you any instructions. Once I remove a hex from you, you're going to have to, I don't know if you can cleanse yourself or you can get a cleanse. But once you do that, you have to now let go of the hex. You can't get a hex remover and still keep talking about the problem forever and ever. You know what I'm saying? At some point, you're going to have to move on from that energy. You're going to have to move on from it energetically. Otherwise, that kind of if because if all of the everything that is aligned up, but it's not affecting you, like you're still experiencing all of the energy, and you're constantly negative, and you just like, oh, screw all these people, then you haven't removed that hex or that blockage really at all. Okay. And some people, happiness is not a virtue. For me, I gotta have everything I need, and I gotta be happy. If I'm not happy, if I don't have the spirit of happy, I'm gonna conjure it. So, when people be talking about depression and stuff like that, that's one of the things that I do for people is I lift their depression and I replace it with happiness. That's the whole point of it. If you're gonna cleanse somebody, you also have to feed them. So this is the purpose of us putting herbs and stuff in our candles, because it feeds the work. So this is the reason why I am world renowned and known for the hex removers and the cleanses. Okay, people will forever speak well of my cleanses, and they can't argue about it. You know what I'm saying? So, and they won't be adjusted in price at all. So, they're not too expensive. That's exactly the amount of energy that it takes for that work. If you're a spiritualist, you should be charging that amount or more. Okay, it's not about being greedy. It's not about being greedy. It's about protecting yourself. You cannot go and do bargain and cut rate work. Stop doing that. I'm telling that to all spiritualists. Okay. Now y'all heard me, and I warned y'all about that. I've been talking to y'all about that for years. Now, if you want to take payment arrangements or something, that's fine. You can help your clients out like that. But as far as, because you'll end up with that debt on you. You will end up with that spiritual debt on you, because you don't know if somebody's grandpa could have killed somebody. You don't know what could have happened. So this is the reason why you do have to protect yourself. Also, if spell work were cheap, then it would not be, if it were cheap, it wouldn't be worth anything. Okay, it would be worthless if it were cheap. If it were not something that you would have to work to get to. You know what I'm saying? It ain't, it's not like that, because you know what? I'm gonna tell you why. Because there's too many people that wouldn't appreciate it. Especially people that's asking for millions of dollars, and you already having obstacles. You don't need $1 million. What you need some help. $1 million is not going to solve your problems. So sometimes spirit will stop you from getting all of that you want, because you need to work on yourself first. You might harm yourself getting that kind of money if you ain't worked on yourself. So, that's just what it is when it comes to that. Okay. So now the one thing I can tell you also is that when you start doing work on something, you may immediately get a knee-jerk reaction from spirits, but that doesn't mean that you haven't removed the situation. Okay. You know, And, making sure that when you do your work that you're harming none so that you can keep everything else that you have in your life in balance. Because sometimes when you change one thing, it may, ricochet and cause something else to be different or to be indifferent or the energies to not mesh well. Okay. But I think that that's why everybody has to look at themselves as an individual. You can't look at yourself as your parent. You have to realize your individuality. That is important as well. Okay, I know that we do the mother, the maiden, and the crone, and the triple goddess, and all that stuff, but in reality, that's not necessarily what that means. What that is that's all about the power of the woman. That's all about the womanly power. They have the Holy Trinity, which is the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, which is, I guess, comparable. So right. And then also you don't want to upset the balance of where things are at, because sometimes things can upset the balance. And you know I don't ever see how money can upset people to the point where they feel like, I guess, if you have money you're going to escape somehow. Some people are literal. Some people you feel like you've been hijacked. But other than that, um when you bind somebody also, you're not going to bind that person to where, oh, I'm binding you to where you can't get this or you can't do that for yourself. No, you bind somebody from doing harm to you, from whatever their intent is to you. Okay, so if you're doing a binding spell, you shouldn't be binding that person from taking care of themselves. You're going to have some backlash. You're going to have a backfire. So that's when a harmless binding spell can turn into a curse. You can end up cursing yourself. You have to be extremely careful when doing spiritual work. And doing spiritual work when you're emotional, it depends. You got to still know how to channel those emotions. Otherwise, you'll end up doing more harm to yourself. Even bad people have protection. A lot of people just think it's just automatic. Oh, they're going to automatically get karma and I'm going to be fine. No, that's not the way that it works. Okay, evil people, they get away with crap all the time. Okay, there's some people that do evil stuff to other people their whole life and they never get caught up on it. Never. So karma does not automatically happen. If somebody has um dimmed your spirit or threw shade at you, what the whole point of it is to um break them down, break you down so that they can be building themselves up. Okay, which I still don't see the benefit in that. That energy is, what's the word that I'm looking for? That energy is what people do when they're scared. Okay, when they're scared to for if they're successful, they're afraid to see somebody else be successful. And I think that, in my humble opinion, that is the beginning of a person's downfall. Never in my life have I sat there and actually wanted to cause issues or problems in another person's life. That means that you woke up that morning cursed, if that's what you decided to do. For whatever reason, especially if a person has not done anything to you. I have seen folks just attack. And you know what? It's also people with paranoia, and then also there's also breakup work that people will do. Those energies are usually temporary, though. you know. And so, also, your money blocks and stuff like that. 9 times out of 10, you probably have been crossed, which can also mean binded. Okay. Now I can usually tell that I'm crossed or binded. My body tells me. And, this is when you've been cursed to a capacity where you can't take care of yourself. And that's a huge problem. Okay. Curses do cause illnesses. 9 times out of 10, if you have had some kind of illness, it's probably a curse. A lot of times, though, the common cold is actually things coming out of you. Sometimes, if you sick all the time, something ain't right with that. You ain't supposed to be sick all the time. So, I don't know. I think that everybody should want everybody to succeed, to meet their goals, because you never know what is, what is transpiring with that situation, what is going on with their spirits. They're going with their spirits and what they're saying. And they're going to trust in their spirits before they trust in you, which people should. You can hear me. A lot of that bad spiritual energy comes from within your bloodline. Families should be better than that, but they're not, unfortunately. Unfortunately for them, you got to become untouchable to where that energy can't touch you no more. Okay. Because a lot of the psychic attacks comes just from somebody having a negative conversation about you. Believe it or not, many of you guys, when y'all say I'm being psychically attacked, I'll go and look at the psychic attack and I'll just see a couple of people sitting there talking negatively about you. It can go as simple as that. You ain't got to gaze in a crystal ball. You ain't got to necessarily do that. You can actually psychically attack a person, especially if they're telepathic, just by having a negative conversation about them. They can hear you. Well, I can hear people talking about me when they're anytime somebody's saying anything about me or discussing me, I can absolutely hear it. And that's the main thing that I can say, oh well, I can see them doing that. Same thing if they're doing a ritual. The way that I'm able to see it is if I'm able to hear this message over and over again, that negative message that they've spoken over you. Because there's a difference between um, just being psychically attacked, which is just as bad, than somebody actually doing a ritual against you, which, I can see it. I can see exactly what they're doing. And, you know, okay, y'all, I'm back. So, it's as simple as getting the spiritual work whenever y'all ready. Y'all know I'm always here when y'all ready to be tired of that stuff. When you're sick and tired of being sick and tired and you want to do something for yourself that you can be proud of. And the narcissistic parent, you work hard for the things that you have, and they're just like, oh, this house sucks. It's not good enough. It's subpar to what, it's like, well, I like it. That's pretty much all that matters. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, be careful. Be very, very careful especially if you feel like you can't get up, like if you trying so damn hard. And all you're hearing from your parents or your family is, I want you to come back. I want you to go back. Well, why do I have to go back? Why can't you speed up to me? Why should I have to digress? Why should I have to? That none of that ever made sense to me. Because what they're planning is, they're probably planning on something for themselves. And instead of them having their own thing and you having your own thing, they want to outdo you by having something, and then, looking at you, and, then you ain't got nothing. Because a lot of y'all that had narcissistic parents, y'all have had a lot of hard times in life, let me tell you. Just think, if you would have had a supportive parent, life would have been better. It would have been easier. It would have. I don't care what they say. They try to spin that narrative of, oh, I was teaching you something. I was building your character. Build this with my fucking middle finger and some sulfur. Build your character. Build some character off of this damn middle finger. Okay. Hmm. So, that's that. What? Wait a minute. What was that picture? I need to go back and look at that. Lord have mercy. They in here pouring bombing me. So they must be getting upset, which is a good sign, I guess. You know, um, this is what I'm gonna say. How about you stop trying to manipulate people and live your life? Because you got the agents. You have agents that, I've noticed that I've had several people that live with their parents, and it's almost like they're, you know it's like they don't get where I'm coming from at all. They just don't get it, because they're so binded by their mother, so that they live with their mother the rest of their life. Some of these people even have sexual relationships with their parents too. Some of them, which is even sicker. To me, I think that is sick, in my humble opinion. I think it's sick. I don't know about y'all. There's some people that have differences of opinion, but that's just my take on it. But people groom their children, and these people will remain groomed well into their 40s. They groom their children to be who they want them to be. And it would be hell for these people to get away. It would be absolute hell for them to actually get away from that. So they kind of pretty much just accept it, and they watch everybody else move forward and live their life while they're stuck in that situation. I feel like this. If you are in that situation, don't be messed up about it. Live your life. What did Rihanna say? Live your life then. If that's what you've accepted, don't hate on the next person that don't live that life. Makes sense to me. Does it make sense to y'all? Makes perfect sense to me. And we can't negate away from the facts and the truths just because there's people out there that can't afford my spell work. So we're never going to negate from that the facts that I'm speaking today. Okay. So, y'all, you know what? Here's the whole thing about it. All it takes is a consultation. And, spirit will start to open the way for you. Spirits will start to open doors for you because they're telling you stuff that you suspected, which, like I said, if your mother is going around calling you names, dogging you out to the family, literally making you seem like you're incapable, like you're retard, like you can't do anything, you don't even have to ask me. Like, you don't. That's not even a question. If for you to say, Jamila, I've had a lot of failures in life. I don't have nowhere to go but my mama's house, and then my mama is always talking about me negatively. Do you think she's against me? What do you think? In fact, some of y'all mamas have completely handicapped you. You just handicap you. It is everything that you do, you just scared to death of it. You scared to go outside and you scared to do every damn thing. You just feel stuck. You know what I'm saying? And then when you do get away, if said parent never speaks to you again, then it's like, oh, well, then you got your answer. Why is it that they only want to be your parent when you're down and out? But when you on top, they don't want nothing to do with you. In fact, sometimes that's how you can tell when a bunch of money getting ready to come in, because people will all of a sudden, you broke. Well, can't nobody call nobody broke now. Can't nobody call nobody broke in the United States because everybody about to get about $3, $4, $5,000 checks. So can't nobody say nobody broke. Y'all all gonna have a fresh start. Okay, can't nobody say, you broke. You ain't got, well, at least I got my stimulus check. What, does that not count for nothing? You know what I'm saying? Like, come on now. Hey, at least, those people that are working, they're going to get a little bit of extra. What's up with all the negativity? Why are you upset? You know? So people out there, boy, people be acting crazy about money. I know that I am full-fledged in hermit mode and I am freaking loving it. I am loving being in hermit mode, not having to deal with other people's bad energy except for my clients. I ain't talking to nobody except for my clients. Okay, clients are number one right now. I don't want to talk to you because people will, people in their bad energy, it won't mess with the client's work, but it'll mess with you. You know what I'm saying? Because you got all this other stuff to do, and then you also got to deal with this stuff. And see, I deal with my problems a lot different than other people. I don't deal with my problems. If I have a bill due, I don't go somewhere and start going off on people about it. I sit there and I manifest the money that is needed. You don't, and some people don't realize, like, why are you making it so hard? You ain't gonna make it hard for me. You ain't gonna make it hard for me. You know what I'm saying? People are a mess, man. So a lot of people get freaked out though, and they think, well, I can't afford the generational X remover. Well, just keep cleansing yourself. If you can't ever get that amount together, I've got people that come back to me twice a year to get cleanses, and they definitely need it because I ain't even gonna talk about it. And that's all they do is they get a couple of cleanses per year, and all of their problems are solved. You know, probably because they're being unbinded. The cleanses will unbind you, because that's exactly how I be, when I see you guys as chakras and your auras and stuff, it'll be so binded up. especially y'all solar plexuses. Oh my God, that solar plexus will be binded and just your solar plexus ain't supposed to be like a purple color. It ain't supposed to be that color. It's supposed to be the color of the sun. It is, because that lets you know that's your fire, that's your willpower. If it's too much, then you can find yourself um doing things and making, certain mistakes. And if it's balanced, then, you're gonna manifest. But, so you have to look out, because that's where it's all at. If you pay attention to your chakras, you will manifest much easier. Okay, just like, for example, if you have, like the person that was in here earlier doing the reading, if you have a negative subconscious blockage and you have casted some work out, the reason why it's going to take longer for that to manifest is because of it'll manifest eventually, but that negative subconscious blockage is going to it's going to make it take longer. So what I would suggest is meditation. Do the third eye clearing or either third eye purification. They have like a bunch of them, and they do work. They do work, especially that esophageal one, that cleansing, clearing out subconscious worries and fears. That is what is stopping you. And yeah, there are people in this world that will probably, put more of that, but I think that, that's the whole point of it, is so that you can clear that, so that you can go ahead and manifest. Because if your mind is all clogged and filled with, you got to clear your mind. If you have any problems, you got to clear your mind. And once you start to clear your mind, then that is when you'll start to see the solution. And then you'll even see the light at the end of the tunnel. You even see that too. Now there's this, I call it tunnel meditation. It's when you may be in a place where you don't want to be at. And it's very effective for me, and I'll tell you guys if I don't mind. It's because people can go to some dark places. Okay, you want to imagine yourself on a boat. If you want to imagine it being a car, you can do that too. But you want to imagine yourself going through a long, dark tunnel, and all of your problems, all of your issues, they're just coming up behind you. They on the side of you. What you want to do is you want to be able to push them further, further, and further into the back. And as you go towards the light, as you go towards that light, you want to make sure that you are focusing on everything that you want is at the end of that tunnel, everything. And so you want to take some time to do that. Once you get to the end of the tunnel and you step into, I guess it would be changing your reality at the, and you can do this daily if you want, especially if you feel as though something ain't right. But as you get to the outside of the tunnel, you know what I'm saying? You're where you want to be. And, you want to, everything that all of your problems, you want them to be gone. You do. And you want to seal that tunnel up. You just want to, you don't even want to see an entrance way to that tunnel anymore. That is a very powerful meditation that will help you to, especially while you're doing your spell work. For those of you that need road openers, for those of you that need, what's another thing that helps? It helps with depression and sometimes even anxiety, because I've actually done guided meditation for people on the phone, and they have told me that they have seen an improvement with their depression. So that was like a Cliff's Notes version of it, but it usually takes about, I'd say a good one would take about 10 minutes. A good meditation would take at least 10 minutes. If you're not able to quiet your mind, you need a cleanse straight the fuck up. There's no way in hell as a spiritualist I would ever be able to manifest anything for myself or anybody else if my mind was filled with crap. You if you can't clear your mind, you gonna have an issue. So that's one of the things I can tell you. And it's it's not like I gave away a secret or anything, you know what I'm saying? But it is because I do the same thing for myself. Now, I don't believe that doing that meditation is going to uh, get rid of a generational hex. I don't think it's going to do that, but it'll definitely help to you to start guiding yourself and for you to start manifesting. So anyway, I offer generational hex removers. They do work. Yes, they do. Just depends. It depends on what position that you're at, especially a lot of you business owners that are experiencing blockages, or you're experiencing reduced growth, or if you're experiencing what's the other thing I was going to say? If you're having issues with keeping things going, or no, if let's say that your income has been at one place and you have just been stuck at that one place and you just can't seem to get past it, the generational hex removers will give you an instant increase, is what I've known, is what I have noticed about them. Okay. For me, I had like a triple quadruple increase for me. So, you know, okay, because basically with the generational curses, it's what affected one generation is going to affect the next, but it's going to affect them worse. It's going to be much worse for the next generation. That's important. That's why it's important to break them. Otherwise, it'll get worse. It's not going to ever get better. Ignoring it is not going to make it get better. Okay. All right, y'all. Okay. I will see y'all later. Have a wonderful Sunday. All right. Bye bye, y'all. Love and light.